right, call this meeting to order. Welcome everyone. Happy week 14. You're almost there. We're almost there. Yes, awesome. I just want to say welcome to our journalism classes here tonight. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving break and are ready to kind of get back into it for the next couple of weeks. Okay, we're going to start with student speak out. Is there any students speak out? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to announcements.
I'll just do that.
Are there any announcements this evening? Yes.
I have three small ones. The first one, so those of you that were on Student Senate before, the MAC, the American Conference, does Mental Health Awareness Week the second week of February each year. Any student org or individual that's interested in participating, we would love to have you. We'll have 1 or 2 meetings before the end of the semester to get a little preliminary planning. And then it'll really kick off when we come back in January. So if you're interested, please contact me after the meeting. I'll say a little bit after. And then the second thing, we are having a food drive around all the athletic facilities. I know that's something that you're going to see around campus a lot this time of year. But should that be an easier place for you to donate, please feel free to utilize any of those, like big green containers. And then the last piece that some of you already know, after this semester, I'm going to step down from this position. I'd like to have some more time to focus on my cross-country team, and then also within staff, the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. There have been some fabulous individuals that have applied to this position, and I'm really excited for them to step up and give it a try. But thank you so much for all of you that have been supportive to athletics. It's an honor and a privilege to get to be here with you, and thank you very much. That's all.
I just wanted to take a minute to and just say thank you so much to Senator Deering for her years of service to Student Senate. She has been such a wonderful advocate for student athletes on this campus, and so I would encourage you to go and chat with her and think about her experience. Thank you so very much. Are there any other announcements this evening? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to our first presentation of the evening. We have Chief Reimer here with the Athens Fire Department, and we're really excited to welcome him.
The clicker is dead, so I will be here. If you just want to give me a signal, I'll go to the next one.
Good evening, and thank you very much for your invitation. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. If I'm not speaking loud enough, please let me know. I am not, I'll tell you right now, a public speaker. I hate public speaking, but I thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chief Bob Reimer at the Fire Department. If you ever see me on the street, it's just Bob. Spelled backwards. It throws people off, but it's easy to remember that way. So I would like to tell you about the Athens Fire Department, what we have to offer, where we've been, where we are today, where we should be, compare us to other fire departments. Talk about a little bit about what we have at the university and the relationship that we have, and how maybe you may be able to help us out. If I'm speaking too fast or anything, just let me know. Athens Fire Department has 2 fire stations. There's one on Columbus Road, built in 1965, which is barely standing. If you don't know anything about it, it's built with stilts, which was fine in 1965 when the trucks are a lot smaller. So we put about $1 million in the last 15 years into trying to keep it from falling down. We're trying to find ways that we can get a new station, even to the point that we're doing a comprehensive study with the university to try and combine forces to help OUPD, Athens PD, the EMS, Sheriff's Department, trying to share services in order to help save money, something a little bit better for the community. The other station is down at the end of the avenue here, Richland Avenue. That was built in '68. There's 10 vehicles, 4 trailers. The next truck to be replaced, our 97 engine, which we're in the process of doing the specs on that. We have 23 personnel, including my part-time secretary, myself, and 21 line personnel. That's 7 per shift. Shift normally runs 24 hours on. We come in at 7 in the morning. They leave at 7 the next morning. They're off for 48 hours. They work every day of the year. They're working Thanksgiving, Christmas, anytime that you need us, we're there. We have 4 minimum staffing per day. So we have 2 at this station and 2 at that station. Whether it's an alarm to Gammertsfelder Hall, whether it's a fire at Carriage Hill. You show up most times with 4 people and hope everybody else comes in off duty, which is extremely dangerous if you don't know anything about firefighting. To give you an idea, we have 0.88 firefighters per 1,000 population. Population here, it is according with the census of a population of about 25,000. 0.5 firefighters for 1,000 population, the daily population. So our daily population is somewhere around, let's say around 40,000 with university in session, with the people coming into town to work, and with the actual permanent population. The national average is 1.69 firefighters per 1,000 people. Okay, so that would say, just based on our census, 42 firefighters for the census, 68 for the daily population. Again, we have 22, including myself. Average of 1,000 hours of training per firefighter. There's 6 technical rescues you will see here that we participate in, basic fire, EMS, inspections, all kinds of things. We protect all properties within the city limits, that's the university, and the actual population as a whole, is the residents. Statewide mutual aid, we have run a heavy rescue that responds to 11 counties in southeast Ohio. We are probably one of the highest trained departments in the area. Our ISO rating, if you don't know anything about it, is a 4. This is what they base their insurance rates off of, and we get a grading system. Every fire department in the United States gets one. 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. Things that kill us, water supply, training, staffing, what all we need to have. This is just some of the things that we do here. You can read down through them. As I said, we have all kinds of technical rescues. High-angle rescue, confined space rescue, water rescue. Anybody been stuck in an elevator before? We can do that. Actually, we're having that training again this month. We've had a confined space rescue where a person has died. We've had rope rescues. We've had 4 water rescues in the last 4 years. Census and enrollment. This is what went back to about 1970 to compare what the census was and what the enrollment was. So if you look here, and it's kind of hard to really tell, the enrollment here at 1970, during the height of the Vietnam War, we're up and around just below 20,000. The city census was 25. As you can see basically here, as the census or the enrollment goes down, so does the census and vice versa. So a lot of the city is based upon you. Runs and staffing. Again, the same thing, starting back in 1970. What I've done here is if you look at the firefighters at the bottom, I multiplied that by 10 because you couldn't see it if it was just 20. Basically, the height of our staffing was 26, around 74 to 82. That was 26 firefighters, 22 today. It's dropped down to 22 at about 86. They end up having to close the station. They got a levy on so they can open the station back up. We slowly increased back to 25, and now we're down to 22. So most we've ever had was 1974, about 82, 26. Population statistics, I told you before, most of this is coming from census.gov. 25,000, a little over 25,000 is what the estimated census is. 24,000 enrollment. 23,000 is a working population. How many people are coming to town? How many people are leaving town? Before they did the East State Street remodel, whatever you want to call it, down at the Fiasco. I know you all probably stressed through it all going to Kroger's. We all did, trust me. They did a count, it was 31,000 cars a day driving on East State Street. Median household is slightly above 22,000. Poverty levels at 54.7%. I cannot tell you about the census here, and most students may not have jobs. They're going to school. I went to school, I didn't. So I couldn't tell you if that's what the poverty level is based on. I know that Athens County is the poorest county in Ohio. 65 years and older is 4.3%. 18 years and younger is 5.8%. So we make up the majority of the population, those 19 and over. And no, I'm not 65. We have 2 police departments to protect Athens. APD, which has 27 sworn officers, OUPD, which has 31 sworn officers. They do have an MOU to where they run mutual aid with each other. There's many times where I'll be somewhere in the city and we'll have an accident or a fire or something. OUPD is right there. APD is coming on campus to help out, especially if we have a large incident. They also can pull from the Ohio State Patrol, which is here on the east end of town, and Athens County Sheriff's Office. I don't know exactly what their staffing numbers are, but if that gives you an idea, we have over 60 police officers just within the city of Athens. We're the only fire department in the city. Like I said 22, we protect 100% of the city, the 30% of the university, 70% of citizens. For 2017, 43% of our fire runs were to just university buildings. That's not including off-campus housing. That's just Cameron Starter Hall. This year, Jeff Hall. Who lives in Jefferson Hall? Anybody? You're lucky this year, I'm going to tell you. My goodness, we've gone there a lot. Cooking fires. 48% of our fires are due to cooking in Athens. National average is 34%. In the last 20 years, casualties and injuries, we've had 6 fire rescue fatalities due to fires, confined space, water rescue. 28 fire injuries. This includes burns, smoke inhalation, hitting yourself when you're trying to get out during fire. Had quite a bit of injuries during the Union Street fire. Some of you know anything about that. We had quite a bit there. 19 people pulled out of there. There was quite a few injuries just from that. Nobody died, thankfully. 5 other injuries, carbon monoxide gas exposure, things of that nature. And then we've had a total of 48 throughout the year, but some of those are car accidents. These here, what I'm trying to point out is things that we, if we had the staffing, could have done something about. Car accidents, there's just nothing we could have done about that. They're either good or they're bad, except trying to get them out as soon as possible. This here, if we had more people, the confined space death, we showed up with 4 people. We did improper work. We went into the hole without the proper equipment, and we pulled one out that survived, pulled one out that did not. So these are just statistics that I think with education, with the proper staffing, we could have helped out and made the situation a little bit better. Staffing recommendations. If you don't know anything about NFPA 1710, you're having trouble sleeping, I highly recommend you read this. You will not have a problem sleeping. It is very boring. Basically, recommendations, 15 firefighters to respond to a single-family 2-story, 2,000 square foot house. So, the typical house that you have on Palmer Street, on Mill Street, in Grosvenor, these small residential homes that you may live in. That's what we're supposed to show up with in the first 8 minutes in order to put out the fire. First 4 minutes is the first arriving unit, which they recommend 4 people on an engine. Full alarm in 8 minutes. 4-person engine companies, when they did a study, shows that all tasks on a fire ground gets accomplished 7 minutes or 30% faster than 2-person crews. That's what we currently run. And in 8 minutes, approximately 8 minutes, 50% of the structure is lost. It's gone beyond the room of origin. The fire will double in size every minute. So it goes from 2 foot to 4 foot to 8 foot to 16 foot every minute. Our average response time is 4 to 6 minutes. Now, with roads being closed, that is going to lessen that time. We're going to make that time greater, actually. So with University Terrace, for example, if I have an engine coming from Richard Avenue, where normally they might be able to get to, we'll say, Scott Quad in 4 minutes, well, now they have to go all the way around. That's going to increase that. If we have a road closed for a parade or something, all these little factors come into play. So just imagine as the response time increases, so does the severity of the fire. Average dollar loss, now this is based on a 98, I could not find anything more recent. 22,700 when it goes beyond the room of origin. 2-person crews approaching fast-moving fires result in 50% incapacitation or death of the general population. We had in 1997, we had 2 studies done. One was Fitzpatrick and Associates, and I do have copies of that. One, here's the recommendations from it. One was construct a 3rd fire station on the east side by 2001. Construct a 4th fire station on 682, west end of town here, by 2005. 10 minimum staffing, 3 per station, 1 shift supervisor. Reinstate the fire inspector position that was abolished in '86. again, when we started closing the station. We have not had a full-time inspector since then. 24 firefighters are necessary to fight a dorm fire is what they have found. Increased income tax levy plus financial help from the university is a recommendation. Survey of university students that they had done at that time found that 49 out of 50 were in favor of a student fee to improve fire services. And when I did my last paper in 2017, I just did a quick survey of 30 students at College Green. It's 26 out of 30 of them were in favor of a student fee. All of them were in favor, oddly enough, of taxing alcohol. Unfortunately, we don't get any property taxes, but I appreciate that. Housing units, again, back to 1970, you see how the city has grown. 5,500 housing units approximately in 1970, so now we're about 8,000. Today, about 5,500 of those are rental units. The rest are owner-occupied people that just live here. Fire department comparisons, comparing this to other like-sized fire departments throughout the state. And this is comparing through population or square miles. If you look there, we are basically have the lowest number of firefighters. Whereas Washington Township has 150, but if you've ever paid taxes in Washington Township, you know why. 25,000 population, 40,000 is the daytime population. There's a number of stations, and then whether or not we're doing technical rescues. Again, these some of these are college towns, whether it's a small college like Otterbein, Lancaster, OU, Lancaster, see here, Chillicothe, Zanesville, they all have some type of college in it. But this is just comparison to other departments like size. Our current revenue sources come mainly from the income tax, 1.85%, just increased 0.2% in 2016 with projection of $1.4 million a year. That did not come to mark. We did not make $1.4 million as jobs go down, as layoffs go down. So does the actual income tax. And then we also had a large increase in medical costs. I think about the medical costs that are out there. It jacked up just like any other employer. Our employer the same thing, so that ate up quite a bit of it there. Local government fund. This is money we used to get from the state. We still get from the state. It's $800,000 prior to 2008. As you can see, it's gone down. Is now back up to about 380,000. I think at one time it was down to about 200,000 in 2008. OU Impact Fund. This is something, if you look at the distribution schedule for the state of Ohio, it will tell you what each university gets, what some college towns get. We get an OU Impact Fund. It's based on $1.02 per student enrollment. So if your enrollment goes down, we get less. We get $27,000 for the impact that the OU has upon the services in the city every year. Out of that same fund, OU gets $165 million for, and it tells you in the schedule what it goes to. We're talking about research stuff. We're talking about good things that OU does for the community, for medical outreach programs, mammographies, things of that nature. So that all comes from the same pot. Property taxes at 2.6 mils. It generated about 877,000. Things about property tax, we increase property tax. Go to the next one. If we do increase the property tax, that of course is going to increase the rent if you rent anywhere inside the city. Income tax rates for college towns, we are the lowest of the 11 college towns above 10,000 enrollment within the state of Ohio. We have the lowest income tax. And we are the 4th largest in the state. Is that pulling up?
Yeah, just going straight to the next slide.
That's odd. Okay. Property statistics. Let's see if I can remember this off the top of my head. I don't know why it's not coming up there. Thank you. 10.1 square miles is the size of the city. Now, this has increased 33% since 1988. So map that'll show the annexations later. It's increased 3.1 million square feet of building space from 1997 to 2017. 2018 and 19 projections are about another 250,000 of construction they already have on the books to plan with Menards, OU College of Medicine, the new science building they're going to be putting in, some businesses that are coming into town. Tax exempt properties in the city, 46.5% of the property in the city of Athens is tax exempt. Now that's educational university buildings, that's city buildings, churches, not-for-profit. 46, almost half of the property in the city is tax exempt. Lost tax revenue is approximately $14.7 million to the county and $3.8 million to the city due to these tax exempt properties. That's also including hospitals, healthcare facilities. Comprehensive study of 96-97 recommended increased staffing and station numbers, increased district size, increased response time, especially in lightweight construction. So as we get these newer homes, if you don't know anything about construction, these are lightweight, little small trusses that fail 5 to 10 minutes. Go back to thinking about what our response time was. 4 to 6 minutes for a majority of places. So when we get to some of these places on the other side of the railroad tracks where some of these big mansions are, or down towards the east end of town, by the time we get there, the floors are paving in, the ceilings coming in. That's good. You ever get a chance to play with Google Earth? I highly recommend it. Pretty fun. You have a nice little timeline on there that you can take pictures. You pull up a picture on there and it has a timeline. You can scan all the way back to the first picture that was taken from the satellites from Google Earth and right up to where it is today. And it'll show you all the changes and all the pictures that taken over the years. So this is where I got this from. Here's a picture of areas of just campus. Just scan through it to take a look at it. This is campus in '94. Here it is today. The blue boxes are projects that are on the books. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is College of Medicine, the new science building here that they're going to be starting next year, and the chiller facility for the new eating hall. Say again, sorry, where?
The west side.
West side here. That is the OU College of Medicine building that's going to be right next to the HR. Is that correct?
I think it's a combo building.
Sorry, I was just in a planning meeting. That's what I was told. I just said, could you put a hydrant here and an FDC connection here? Thank you. Okay. This is the east end of town. This is the old OU airport in 1997. OU's airport used to be in town here. If you look at it today, now it's Walmart, Staples, Lowe's, Ruby Tuesdays, all these businesses down through here. East end of town, it's the far east end of town in 1997. Here it is with more buildings. This is where Menards is going to go. Oakview Dermatology was just now open. Don Wood, Holzer Clinic. Here's the west end. So I was telling you about the McMansions. Take a look up here. Here they are. Medical facility. Anybody live at the Falls across the railroad tracks here, which is, I believe, Student Rentals. Here's the south end of town. Look here on these hillsides. Okay, this here is the condos, townhouses. You see now we have the big 4-lane superhighway that's going through here. Here's south side, just below campus. If you look here to the left and right. Now we have Summit, University Courtyard, the Ridges, which are doing quite a great work, the Ridges. That used to be, it still is, with the university, what they're doing with the Ridges is making it a lot safer. If you have not been there, I remember going there when I first started in the fire department. It was nothing that you want to go to at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was spooky, all right? You took an axe and a Halligan tool with you to make sure you got out of that place and get the door locked behind. It's amazing. This is Oakmont. This is on the far west end or south end of town here. And here's some more houses we have. And actually right down in this area here is where we had our confined space death, where we had 2 city workers go down in the hole, which is the probably the furthest point of town, which took quite a bit of time to get there. And the next map, it just shows you here what the annexations that we've had since 1988. You can go through and read them off if you'd like, but it's quite more. Basically, it's increased in size by 1/3 since 1988. This is an old map I found from 1972, which shows you just how small some of the city is. It's good. Revenue solutions. All right, we looked at the income tax levy. Again, we increased that 2016, 0.2%, projected 1.4 million, as I already explained. Didn't do as well as we had projected. Current rate is 1.85%. Income tax was increased in 86 to keep Station 2 open. That was another time that it was raised prior to 2016. A property tax levy, owner occupied, is 29.4% of all living units. That's the people that don't go to school, that live in their actual houses down to the far east end or something. People that work in the city or work somewhere else. So that means the rest are rentals, mostly probably you. So any tax increase that you see, property tax on the rentals, I guarantee that you're going to see it. So I do not foresee a landlord saying, you know what, I'll eat that. Don't worry about me raising your rent. 5,600 rental units, 2.6 mills generates approximately 877,000. 1 mill would generate approximately 385,000, 387,000, which isn't a lot. Other ideas, the student user fee. This again was brought up years ago during the 97, even before then. And then inspection fees, which we are starting this year, which is not going to generate a lot. That's based on us doing inspections of 900 businesses in the city. We do not do university buildings. The state fire marshal's office takes care of those 200 buildings. We simply don't have the staffing, and we're too busy trying to take care of the other stuff. Benefits. Increased staffing, line personnel, critical community risk reduction officer, something that's needed, that somebody can do the inspections, that can constantly assess problems that we have in the city. Cooking fires, like I said, one of the number one problems. How do we solve that? It's the person that says, here's an idea how we're going to solve that. Here's a program we're going to use, and constantly assess how that's being taken care of. Hey, here's a problem we're having down at this dorm here. How do we take care of that? Or nightlife. Safer, quicker response to emergencies, decrease property loss, increase ISO rating, which is going to in turn decrease your insurance rates. Again, if that decreases your insurance rates, don't expect the landlord to decrease your rent. Provide weekly fire safety education to all freshman students. This is something I would love to see. Again, with the cooking fires, if we can get the best thing we can do is education. If we can somehow get to everybody that's going to school in their first year, what I would like to see is one day of your 4 years to meet each and every one of you and say, you come on the first Saturday, you come on the second Saturday, you come on the third Saturday, and I'm going to teach you how to use a fire extinguisher and actually put out a fire. I want to teach you cooking safety and how to prevent cooking fires, proper protection and use of smoke devices. I don't know how many times I've gone to an apartment, and because people aren't used to the smoke detectors going off, so they put bags over top of it inside of a large apartment complex, because they don't want the smoke detector to keep going off. Unfortunately, that doesn't let your neighbor upstairs know that your room's on fire either, until the bag burns off. Safe nightlife tips. Crowded bars. How many here have been to a crowded bar before? All the time. We try our best about as much as possible to say, hey, let's keep the numbers down. Let's make sure the exits are open. I've got a great video to show you where 100 people in Rhode Island died because of an overcrowded bar. And nobody knew where the other exit was. They all went where they came into. Escaping a fire alarm protocol. Get out of your building when the alarm goes off. I know your RAs do a terrific job of making sure you are all out of the dorms. But for some reason, once you move out of the dorms, you forget that you still have to get out of all those other buildings like River Park Towers and all these other places that the alarms go off 10 and 12 times a week. And I know it's annoying. I really do. But we simply do not have the personnel to get you all out. We're going to take care of the fire and hope it doesn't get to you before it's out. That's just what we're going to do because that's what we have to do. We have to make that decision. Okay? So please, if anything from this conversation, get outside. University is the first college in the Northwest Territory. Now, I think that you can be the first to set the precedent in the community. Your help, I would like to see possibly a student fee. And with that, I would like to provide every weekend these services. And if most of you, if not all of you, learn cooking fire safety tips, how to use a fire extinguisher, first aid, basic life safety tips, you're going to go back home to wherever you come from all over the world. In 1 year, 4,000 students, 4 years, 16, 20,000 students. We keep doing this. We set the precedent. And the next college does this. And the next college does this. And shows what a great relationship we have. I think we could take care of a global problem of death, cooking fires, how to keep each other safe. It's not just here in Athens. I think this is a worldwide problem that we can solve. So, as I mentioned earlier, what I would like to run, if there's another slide after that.
I think
It's good. The student fee, what I would like to see, if possible, I know I've been a college student. I have a daughter's a college student. I pay for it. $50 a semester would be awesome. Actually, more than that would be awesome, but I'm not. Later can be choosers. I would like to see a $50 per semester student fee, about $100 a year. That would go towards fire safety services, help increase our staff by about 10, 12 firefighters. Educational stuff that we can come down every week and show you how to do the operational costs. Inspections, capital funding. Right now, the university has been very generous in the last 10 years. Excuse me, first getting dry. 10 years, I believe it has been. The university has donated to us $50,000 a year. Yeah, towards the purchase of our last 2 fire trucks at $500,000. That's good. Our last 2 trucks have cost about $1.8 million. And then our next truck, which we're getting ready to buy again, that's another $700,000 right there. So that I am very grateful for what the university has done for us in the past. This, I think, if we're able to do that, we can say, you know what, thanks for the donation. We'll go ahead and save some of this money and put it towards our capital funding training center, which is going to help us get our ISO rating down, which is going to be open for the public, and I can teach all the students. This is how not to get burned, how to get out of the fire, how to not get anybody hurt. So, if you have any questions, I know I've gone over my 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and I have 2 questions. That's it. I'm just kidding. That's all the questions you want. I'm sorry.
Okay, so do other universities in Ohio also pay some sort of state fire safety fee, or since Athens is their case, or we're helping an example out of research in other schools about how?
No other university that I have found, not just in Ohio, donates anything. Now, when I did my last research paper, it was on researching alternative funding methods. And what I did find, especially in the Massachusetts, Connecticut area, they do what they call pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, services in lieu of taxes, especially when it comes to medical research facilities or medical hospitals. Colleges are to say, hey, you know what, we know we're skipping out on $25 million in taxes, but here's $5 million of funding for such and such, what have you. Plus, we're going to offer you free health care from our facility. In Ohio, I have not found any. Matter of fact, I just had a large state meeting to find out if there was something we want to go to the state level to see if maybe we can increase the user, or not the user, the impact fee I told you about from $1 or 2 cents to, how about the state just go ahead and give us a little bit more money. I found one other college that gets something, like a scheme, they get a little bit of money donated towards fire truck purpose also.
So, I don't live on campus, and I saw that says it's all freshmen. But I'm assuming that I would be funding for freshman education. Are you going to, I think, for these education classes, are you going from like dorm? Is it going to be like, or like places that you know that are college rentals, or like, or is it going to only be freshmen? Because I don't think that's very fair.
I would love for it to be everyone. But I'm going to tell you right now, statistically, I just don't know if we can get 20,000 students in 1 year to start off with. So that would be my recommendation to start off with freshmen that way. As they come in 4 years, we've got all 20,000 students. And as a new group comes in, and even not just freshmen, we offer, you got master students that may come in from another university and say, hey, I'm going to come here to all new students and say, I want you to go to this class. And this is what I'm going to offer at least every week. If I get 1 weekend from 30, 35 weekends that you guys have here, it may require somebody giving up a Bomber Fest for about 5 or 6 hours, but, and it's not, you have to do every single weekend. It's 1 time. It's 1 day to say, here it is. If you'd like to take it again, great. Where we would do it, again, I would love to have a training facility, which we discussed some land donated to us who built one to do it. That takes forward as far as how to get the students out there. I will bring it to you. I will find a place on campus, have the university's permission to say, here's what we like to do. Maybe down where they're going to next week with the choice. So before coming to build an actual trailer that has all the stuff on it and bring it to the actual dorm.
Yeah, currently, Friends of Ohio does something for it's like a community event, and they kind of facilitate that like fire understanding. So they might be like Friends of Ohio might be a good study city to kind of look at to see how they engage students, because it's not, I mean, it's students and the whole community, but community engagement with that, because I know that they have like a trail there too. For, and they do it like a couple times a year. It's kind of interesting.
Friends of Ohio?
We have time for about 2 more questions. So I
Gentleman in the back had his.
Thank you very much for coming to this, by the way. I actually be from a surrounding county, but I do support the I remember, I think it was 9 years ago, you guys were eligible for the stimulus building. I don't know, I know you guys were able to get that constructed, but I was attorney fire station. I was wondering, like, how you guys bring that discussion back on fire station.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, university and city on it together to study. We have found that the building that we would need for all 7 agencies and joining forces in there would be somewhere around $30 million based on certain percent, a certain amount of money per square foot. Where do you come up with that $30 million? Even if it's county, city, and university. University may say, okay, yeah, we have our $7 million and we're going to need the land where we'd like to put it. The Athens County may not have the money. I know they don't, because now the state's taking more of their money away from some. They're getting ready to take a $200,000 a year hit in their budget also. And this was earlier about our income tax levy. That increase, we're hoping to put some of that towards that. Medical care costs have gone through the roof. The money I wanted projected would come in, kind of stay flat. So we don't have it. And that's what we're looking at. Okay, the student fee help, we're raising property taxes help, we're raising income taxes that can't help. At some point in time, people will say, we do need new fire stations. We're still looking at about $6-7 million, I would say, for a fire station. And with that, still quite a bit of money, even if you did a bond over 20, 30 years to pay it off. So the city is continuing to look. They have been since 25 years this week. So they've been going well before I started here. So.
On average, how many alarms are off the campus each week? And what is the cost to the fire department each time?
Each week, as I can speak for the 2017, 43% of the calls were to the university buildings alone last year. So, averages, I think, yes, we're running a little bit over 1,000 months a year now. I started in 2023, about 350 runs a year. We did 1,152 last year. We raised 1,000 the last few years. Our runs have tripled. By that, last year, about 3 runs a day. 40% of that, I want to say probably 10 runs, 8 runs, each to the first. That's not including operating.
What's the cost of the fire department? She also asked.
The cost of the fire department is only dependent on time. And it's difficult to figure out exactly what the cost is. I can tell you what we charge, which is the national average. What they recommend is they say it's based on $1 per $1,000 valuation of the truck. So if I send you a $500,000 truck, that's $500 is what the average cost is for that truck. That's 2 trucks. That's about $1,000. If you go and pull this fire alarm as a prank and get caught for it, get prosecuted, I request $600, $300 for each truck for restitution for that. Now, that all also depends on, do I have to call an off-duty firefighter? If it's something where somebody does something, set a trash can on fire, it's a possible fire, I have to call in all off-duty firefighters. Because I have 4 showing up to start off with, and I need at least 24 for the ones that they said 97. I'm at 22. I'm hoping to get everybody I can. So I have to pay them when they come in. So it all depends on the call. It's very difficult to ascertain that. It goes into the equipment, the time. If I'm there for an hour, it may be less than if I'm there for 3 hours. Paying extra people to staff that. And that's the other thing you need to think about is where else is this time coming from? If I'm on 1,000 calls here, that's average of 1,000 to 2,000 hours that I'm not doing. Fire prevention, fire education, inspections, post testing, training, whatever else we need to be doing in order to make sure that none of this stuff happens.
So, we were lucky enough to hear this presentation and sort of see the justifications for a $50 fee. But a lot of students obviously won't get what we just got. I guess my 2 questions is, how does the fire department intend on sort of portraying the need of the fee to students other than it's desperate? But also, has there been talks of a number that could possibly be below 50 that would still be what's the range that would still be adequate for students to pay that could? Has there been a number that's been hashed out?
50 was low. I was thinking of 100 per semester, but as I was talking to John, it's negative about that. They're bargains. They're going to try and bargain that. I understand that. And my dog would be $50. I understand that. $400 for the rest of the 4-year career. But that is generating depends on the enrollment. When it was 24,000, now it's 20,000, I believe, is what I'm talking about. Or something. It's sort of gone down since 2015. So as the numbers go down, so does the revenue. You're looking at the same average of $2 million a year. You're looking at about $1 million to hire about 10 firefighters. All the other costs that eliminates like salaries, Medicare, and everything else. So what happens when we say, okay, well, now the enrollment's going to be done more, salaries go up, Medicare goes up, things of that nature. Now it's a context of dropping off on the firefighters. Or do I have it money to the side? Do I get any retros that I'm having to go ask for operational costs to teach the classes? So it's difficult to say, well, the $50 value would be pretty low, but you can do the math on $25 per semester, $50 a year, that's half your $1 million.
I assume this applies to main campus students, or Athens campus students, or do you want to apply to students?
I would say these are the ones that are here. Yeah, that's going to be a decision on the personnel. Are they getting our services? Or online students getting our services? I don't hear for anything. Okay. But I wouldn't expect it. So I will stay here in the back if you don't mind. If you have any further questions at the end, I'll be more happy to meet with you. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate you listening to me.
Thanks so much again to Chief Brian for sharing your evening with us. And I next presentation for this evening is our Director of Communications, Sam Cornell, is going to give his semesterly PR report update. So welcome, Sam.
All right, hello everyone. As Maddie said, my name is Sam Torno. I am the Director of Communications or the Director of PR, depending on who you ask on any given day. We haven't exactly figured out the title, but that's totally fine. I'm here today to give you an update on what my team has been doing this semester. We've been working very hard, I've had a lot of long nights, but I'm excited to show you some of the things that we've been doing. I'm going to be breaking this down into a few different categories like social media, website, some crisis comm work we've done, so we'll dive into it. All right, so first I wanted to mention social media. So this is just an example from October. In October on Twitter alone, we reached 40.5 thousand users, which is slightly up from last year. We have been tweeting less, but we have made that a little bit of a prerogative to keep our messages full of like quality over quantity. So we've been doing really well on this this metric. We make sure that on social media we handle messaging every day. We usually get 2 to 3 messages a week between Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we make sure that those are all handled and delivered to the right person. So you can move on. Another thing we've been really trying to pump this year is Instagram. In the past, we haven't really done much with Instagram, besides a few sort of introductions of our senators to the public. And this year, we're trying to utilize it more to show a more human face of Senate. So here's an example post so far. It's one of our best ones so far. I know 74 likes doesn't seem major, but it is very new, and it's also a student org. So we are pretty happy with the way that is going and the people it is reaching. And actually, most of our questions that we receive through the public are coming from Instagram as well, and we utilize the story function a lot, which was something we used in the lead-up election campaign as well. So we figured that was something we wanted to use more of now. There we go. Another thing we've been really working with so far is the website. Our webmaster, Abby Harder, has been doing an amazing job with the website. It did not look like this at the beginning of the year. It wasn't bad, but a lot of the information was out of date, so we've been working really hard to make it a good reference point for students. You can click the next slide. So I'm just going to show you a few different screenshots if you haven't had the chance to check it out. So as you see, it looks very sleek and very modern. Abby did a great job with that. You can click one more. As you see, all of your contact information is up on there. So if you ever get random emails from students, hopefully they got it from the website. Click down. Another thing that we handle is the monthly newsletter. So every month, you all should be getting a newsletter from Student Senate. If you do not get it, I would check your spam or your junk mail because it might be there. But so just some basic stats from that. We send it out to over 20,000 students every month. Some of that's faculty, I believe, as well. We're sitting at above a 30% open rate, which is a little higher than last year, if I'm right, and is on par with past years. And honestly, 30% is a pretty healthy number for most of these newsletters. A lot of them go straight to trash, so we try to make sure we're using keywords and SEO in it to make sure that we stay out of that. And finally, the last thing I wanted to touch on of what we do is some crisis communication work. This has been a large part of the PR team's time this semester. Unfortunately, we've dealt with some pretty heavy issues this semester, such as the sexual assaults on campus at the beginning of the year and some of our internal problems. So a lot of time has gone to sort of managing that. So exactly like what does a PR director have to do with this, and how do we help things go smoothly? I'm part of the leadership team, if you're unaware, and part of my duty has to go with working with the execs and making sure that the decisions we're making are not just good for the body, but also good for Senate's image That includes responding to reporters, figuring out what reporters we want to come to Senate, and working with different university officials. And as part of this, since this has been such a large part of this semester, hopefully for next year, I'll be putting together a little guide for whoever takes over next year. It would have been pretty useful this past year, and I don't want anyone to have to succumb to the amount of stress that we have had to deal with this year. You can go to the next slide. So anyway, here's just the contact information of the PR team if you need anyone on there. Yeah, that was my short semesterly update. I wanted to keep it brief because I know you all are very busy, but if you ever have any questions, please reach out to me. I will happily respond in a timely manner. Yeah.
I know when I buy that, I just like texted or emailed Sarah.
Mhm.
And so that was easier for me. Are we still doing that like online form, or would you rather do just like email Sarah?
So the preferred way of doing it, and we mentioned this in the retreat at the beginning of the year too, is to email Sarah if you have an event coming up and you want it advertised on social media, and then CC me in it. That is the preferred way, but if you do reach out and just do it over, like if you DM the Twitter or you just text one of us, we'll still get it in. That's just the easiest way for us to stay organized. So
Just want to make sure that it's that one thing is like no now for one person.
I mean, we still check it and use it, but this is just an easier way of doing this, so we're not checking work so we can't forget it. So. All right, thank you.
Okay, and presentation number 3 for the evening is going to be our treasurer update on her budget report for this semester. She is required. So,
Yes.
everyone let's give a hand to it.
I know we're probably all exhausted from listening to people talk, but I promise I'll make this brief. Todd and I figured out the treasurer has to do this, and we didn't really know that, so here I am, standing in front of you today. So we can click forward. So what I did, I kind of compared our initial allocation to our current numbers. So the graph, the little bar graph on the left shows the initial allocation. Keep in mind that Senate total has an additional $5,000 from the readership program. And then from there, our current numbers, we spent about $5,000 so far, but do not worry. I know it sounds like, oh, that's only like a fifth of our money. We have lots of our big programs are in spring, and those are currently already allocated some set costs, but they usually also request additional funds in the spring. So go forward. So I kind of did a categorized breakdown. So this little pie chart shows kind of the types of things that we have purchased. So we have food, office supplies, program, which is basically programs that we put on internally, and then events are what we buy, like the Blackbird Spencer table, those are events, and also miscellaneous, and what I have to delegate as the RMP. Of course, Take a Tampon, Leave a Tampon kind of took it over as 34%, and next I believe is food, no, not food, office supplies, because we want to function internally efficiently. So next. So next I did a pie chart about where these funds have been taken from. So of course, Take a Tampon, Leave a Tampon is a big cost, which is a great cost, but we still have to pay for it, but also remaining funds. So far we passed all the budgets so far this semester, so I'm really happy to see that. So keep going on, but people need to use their discretionaries hopefully in spring. I will be all commissions hopefully either next week or the first week of next semester. Next. And then I also, according to the RMP, I have to tell you all what I spent my discretionary on. So kind of going through the list, I had to buy recycle and compost bins for the Senate retreat, had to buy bags of ice for the JPAC picnic, the student Senate office tables. So we have nice tables to work at now. We also have a cool night whiteboard if you haven't seen it. We also bought pastries for the town hall to engage student orgs to come. And also the Anflo wall dispensers. We bought products, but a new way to display it that's more engaging and also healthier and more hygienic. And also international dinner table, as well as some name tags. Some people mailed name tags, and it didn't pay the postal cost, so I go on that one. So go next. Looking to spring, these are the events that I have to allocate regarding the RMP, or I decided to give money to these programs. So we have Take Back the Night, Pride Week, Environmental Justice Summit, Sex Week, also Bobcat pledges, as well as Praying Freeze, which kind of randomly come in, OBI, and also the website. So, and whatever these funds are not used will be allocated back into your community funds that people can write budgets and take out money in the spring. So that's it, I believe. Unless I have another mysterious slide. No, I don't. So does anyone have any questions for me regarding anything about budgets?
I heard you say something like extra $5,000 for
Yeah. So if for those who've been in Senate before, back in Hannah Clauser's year of presidency, we kind of made the cost more efficient. So we have kind of $10,000 extra dollars that are kind of hanging out on our account each at the beginning of the year. This year we decided to give half that to SAC and half of that goes to our remaining funds as a Senate body, if that makes sense. But those funds, if it was to go forward with your new committee, that can be adjusted in the future. Questions? Noah?
I kind of want to add on that. That's my note. Safe. Newspapers have to say
Any other questions? Cool. Also, another point of information. So Chris is doing a great job being budget chair. Newt is also doing a great job helping Chris. But we still really need another person on budget committee. I am begging you, please, because they're doing okay right now. But when spring comes around, there's a lot more budgets. There's a lot more events. So please, if you are interested, talk to me. I have to interview you, make an official process. So please let me know. Talk to me after the meeting. Okay,
Vice President Burke. Present. Treasurer Randall. Present. Commissioner Weeks.
President.
Senator Kashu. Senator Curran. Present. Senator Newhart.
Present.
Senator Shaver. Present. Senator Swift. Present. Senator Al Bethany. Senator Archibald. Senator Moore. Present. Senator Krause.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Senator Gibson. Senator Allier. Senator Martin. Commissioner Shira. Commissioner Slaughter.
Present.
Commissioner Finney. Senator Rambo. Commissioner Neff. Senator Sweeney.
Present.
Senator Newman. Commissioner Zimmerman.
Present.
Senator Reeder. Senator DeVos. Senator Van Fleet. Commissioner Smith. Senator Chadwin. Senator Schmidt. Senator Levon. Senator Horincic.
Proxy.
Commissioner Arnold. Commissioner Graffis. Senator Carney. Senator Conrad-Sweeney. Senator Fink. Commissioner Holtkamp. Senator Baker. Senator Schongway. Senator Rideout. Senator Brewer. Senator Subani.
Proxy.
Senator Deering. Commissioner Thomas. Senator Peterson. Senator Kramer. Senator Addison. Senator Miller. Commissioner Whetstone. Senator Brunswick. Senator Carrier. Clerk of Court Woodson. Okay, are there any additions to the agenda this evening? Seeing none, so I can move on to meeting minutes. All those in favor of approving previous meeting minutes, please raise your hand. All those opposed, abstentions, Whereas
Move to suspend the reading.
primary sponsor, Director for Veterans Affairs.
Hi, everyone. I'll try to keep this short. So basically, the Veterans Center has an 1804 grant that they have the funds to create a new Veterans Center. One that they currently have is a Veterans Center and a community center. It's not really just for veterans, and I feel like the students that are veterans are very well served. And they should have a place just for them to do work, to hang out. Just as many of us do. We have different places where we can go. So it would just be a great facility for them to have. This grant expires this in 2019, I believe in June. So there is a rush to get a push on this. Just because they had to ask for an extension already for it before. So there is kind of a rush to get it done, but they do have the grant, the money's there. It just hasn't been a priority. It's been on hold the past 2 years. So the test good.
When we were running this bill, I personally learned so much about the Veterans Center and the necessity of having a designated space for our veteran students. I think this is a population that may not get the attention they deserve. As it is stated in the bill, the policy in the Council for the Advancement of Standards clearly outlines how these students should have their own dedicated space where they are free from triggers and other unnecessary stimuli, so this bill is simply advocating for that.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Yes. Assistant Hashbrook.
Is there have they found there have been talks of where the new Veterans Lounge could be put at?
Yeah. They want it, there's a Veterans Center in Baker. They want it in close proximity to that center, where it's, the one currently right now is in Bromley. It's close, but it's just.
It's not a good
center. Yeah. So anywhere in close proximity to the Veterans Center.
I'm very in favor of this bill. I just have a very quick question. Will this be also open to anyone receiving any type of military benefits like dependents or active duty, or is it exclusively?
It's who identifies as a veteran. So yes, it wouldn't be open to the ROTC because they do have their own facility in Bromley as well. So it wouldn't necessarily just be open to that, but any veteran affiliated and veteran students.
So veteran affiliated, let's say if someone's a dependent?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
I definitely think that this is 2 years ago I tried to work with Veterans Center and expanding their resources. I definitely felt like there was some roadblocks, but I'm glad this grant is available to get insurance. They just kind of, it seemed like nobody wanted to do anything 2 years ago. So I'm really happy that you can take this up. Definitely vote this.
I hope Valerie enjoyed format this bill. Reading through it, Valerie opened up my eyes to a whole different community. You really did. I think I hope y'all support this bill. I hope y'all also read this bill too. Put that out there. But also, I feel like as a student senate, we want to foster great communities. And I feel like right now, veterans don't have that built community of place to go. Like Valerie said, so I really urge them to pass this bill.
Also in terms of that, in terms of building our community and relationship with veterans and veteran affiliated members on campus, I think we should also try hopefully after we pass this bill, to maybe start reaching out to veterans and military students to try and get them more involved in the Senate. Because I used to work with the VA Senate at our study, and a lot of the veterans I talked to said they don't feel as though they're involved in the Senate, but that's like not because anything happened, it's just like a preconceived notion. So I really hope that we pass this bill and we try to encourage veterans.
If you wanted to be here tonight, they just had obligations, but they do want to get more involved and be like this position more involved. But like you said, they are looking to like have a meeting. They would say like that they could have been
was just reading who this bill should be sent to, and because you kind of mentioned that the center is in Baker, and that you want to be close to that space, so possibly put somewhere in Baker. I think that maybe adding Dusty Kilmore to the list of people that should be sent to, the executive director. I'm really bad at title. I don't remember. In charge of Baker. So I feel like adding, we don't need to like resolve it, but just adding things to the people that we have to send it to. Okay.
Trisha has next week. Also, sending this to Shauna Boland, who's back in dinner of Norman University.
Are there any other points of discussion?
Move to vote.
Okay, all those in favor of Senate Bill 18-1905, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Abstentions? Bill passes. Okay, we're going to move on to Senate Resolution 18-1956, a resolution to update the specifics of the appeal process.
Move to suspend the reading.
Primary sponsors.
Yes, this resolution just clarifies and puts in place a timeline for appealing a decision from judicial appeal for someone based on attendance. So it just clarifies a timeline for that. So you've got 5 days to appeal to the executive officers, and then if you want to appeal their decision, you've got 2 general bodies.
I don't believe either of our secretary sponsors. So we're going to open the floor for discussion on this resolution. Okay, all those in favor of resolution 18-1956, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Abstentions? Resolution passes. Okay, moving right along. Senate Resolution 18-1957, a resolution to appoint a senator to the off-campus commission. Whereas
Move to suspend the reading.
primary sponsor, Commissioner Smith.
So on the earlier, great fit for the commission, he's a commuter. He already brought some great points to us that areas you're looking for things to do for next semester. We already have great places to start. One of them being a commuter, not actually. Yeah, I think it would be a great fit for the commission and back to full service.
Great, secondary sponsor.
And we just have urban ways.
Hi.
Some people might not know. But yeah, Commissioner Smith told me that he did an interview, and we're really excited for you to the Senate.
Is there any discussion on this resolution?
Second.
All those in favor of Senate Resolution 18-1957, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Abstentions? Resolution passes. Welcome to the Okay. And for this last resolution, I am the primary sponsor, so I am going to designate Vice President Burke as my president pro tem.
Primary sponsor. Senate Resolution 18-1958, a resolution to appoint senators to the Student Trustee Selection Committee.
Move to suspend the reading.
Primary sponsor, President Smith.
Okay, so this is really silly because I am required to be the primary sponsor of this resolution, but Hannah is in charge of this committee. So she is actually going to do more of the talking. So I'm going to go.
Okay, the secondary sponsor is me. So, as you all know, we had applications, and then Natalie looked through them and decided on Danielle and John to be on this committee. So that was really great. So the 4 of us will, Maddie, myself, Danielle, and John will be the 4 from students and will be on this selection committee along with presidents from all the 5 senates and some other people.
So it should be time, and I hope we get a lot of candidates and we testify to go together. Time. Any discussion?
Second.
All those in favor of Senate Resolution 1890-58? All those opposed? Abstentions? One abstention.
Okay, we're going to move on to commission reports. Are there any commission reports? Yes, Commissioner Neff.
Friday, we're hosting this GPS talk in front room from 2 to 3. So it's no weekend. Great to focus on mental health.
Thank you, Commissioner Neff. Any other commissioners or commissioners?
So we weren't going to have a microaggression statement. It may not happen, we don't know yet. So if we do have it, yeah, we'll be tabling sometime next week. We'll send it out in Slack and everything on microaggression, just kind of like questions that I get asked, like, do you go to school on a camel? So just things like that. We also get microaggressions are, but bring your friends with more information to the Slack if it's not this semester, next semester. But yeah, if you do have that this semester, we'd love some volunteers. There's only 41 information with myself, plus covered. So she can help us out too, but we'd love more help to like sort of table and more others in class. So if you can help out, whether whatever commission you're on, that'd be awesome. And
Any other commissioners?
Monday, I'll be showing I'm Dr. Nico, Baker Peter, 8:30 to 10:30. It's a really good event as well.
Popcorn. Any other commissioners? Seeing none, we're going to move on to Senate committee reports. I'm not sure if anyone has an update. Yes, Senator Greenland.
So about the pan drive, we currently have 42 pans. That was at 5:30 p.m. And execs are showing up and showing out. So everyone, if you have flags and everything, make sure to donate to the food pantry. It's still going, so. There's like 3 of us. You gotta meet us.
Any other Senate committee reports?
So my committee met a few days ago. Well, we have an outline for what we want to achieve. We're trying to meet with Megan Vogel for this other representative I'm blanking on her name that she pointed us to. That's it. Great. She's very intelligent, very cool. I'm really excited to meet her too. But we're trying to develop action items to start next semester in terms of reforming immigration.
Any other Senate committee reports?
I'd just like to comment on the chaos. It's really easy. I have my own house. I have my own house. You know what? Thanksgiving. So my mom got me okay. You know how old it is. I'll give it like me to fix. She said, yeah, I got washing. Several months on the middle of these people. She said it saves me from being out from the way.
Be like you. Yeah. Bring your canned goods. Okay, we're going to move on to university standing committees. And is anyone on the standing committee that met recently? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to reports for this evening. Okay, so I just have a few quick updates for you all. I put in the Slack today those 2 bills that we will be discussing next week. They're draft stages right now, but we would love to hear feedback ahead of time before Monday finalize the agenda. They're really, really, really important. Like, you don't read any other bills this year. We will be reading all of the bills, but please read these bills because we really want to have a good conversation about this important topic. So please feel free to send me any emails, questions. I have on here canned food drive competition. Please bring your canned goods. I also want us to win because I want to keep the party, but I also want to bring a lot of balance. I want to give an update on budget planning council. So tomorrow we're going to be discussing potential increases to culinary service options essentially. But 2 weeks ago we had a conversation about tuition increases, and I want to let you know that vote has been put off at least until after the semester due to the new governor coming in. Because of that, we're at kind of an unstable place with making kind of decisions moving forward here. So I will keep you updated, but just to let you know that's not a vote that's happening before the end of this semester. So, but please do come to me with any questions or feedback based on tuition. I have a meeting with President Nellis tomorrow. Any types of issues, concerns that you would like me to bring to him, please again send me a Slack message and I will be sure to bring that up. I also wanted to give you an update that Lydia and I will be meeting with Deb Schaefer, the CFO, and the provost, Dr. Jalali, in the next 2 weeks here regarding SNAP funding and kind of establishing more of the process moving forward. We're sort of in the stages of that. So we'll continue to keep you up to date on that, but that's going to be a major project for next semester. We have 2 weeks of classes left, and finals are coming up here, so just want to say good luck with your classes, stay strong. We want to finish strong with Senate as well, so make sure you're kind of still working hard on commissions, and we only have 1 GM left, so we're really excited about this week. But I also want to say take care of yourselves in this process. Students first, but you're also people first. So please make sure you take care of yourself. And that is the end of my report.
Okay, so we talked about it earlier, but I've been working on this selection, appointed 2 people. I'm finishing up the application, and then it's actually going to go live on Monday. So we're going to be pushing that out. So if you know anyone who would be a good fit that's going to be at the university for 2 more years, let them know about this position. If they have any questions, they should contact the student. But if they need help getting that contact information, you can ask me that. That's pretty cool. You probably saw that Jordan put up we have another survey. I feel like we've had a lot of surveys about safety app, but this one is really specific about different services that the app Harvard offers and that we want to see what Ohio University specifically should customize with the app. So take that survey. It's on the Twitter. It's on all of our social media. So get that up and share it. And then also a couple people in Senate, off-campus commission, life commission, and residents like in governmental affairs are doing a safety walk with several people in the city and school next Thursday. So if you have any areas that you think that you should look at on this walk, you can send me an email or texting because we want to get some student impact or feedback to see if like the places you're planning on walking bother everyone.
So, OSGS, which for those who don't know, is Ohio Student Government. Summit. That's the other word. So it's going to be February 9th next year. We brought about 10 people last year. I'm thinking we're going to bump that up to 12 people. For those who are currently interested, please talk to me after the GBM or DM me. What this summit does is a good leadership opportunity. I went last year and I learned a lot. It's, of course, subjected to student government. So you can meet with Akron, it's Akron versus Akron, but Akron student governments, I believe Miami has gone, and it's really cool to get insight on other student governments and how they function. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Also, next week's Monday, we are deciding after stack on this Monday. So that's cool. So please send staff your good vibes. We're going to need it. It's going to take a long time. We have 40 budgets, so that's awesome. That's definitely more than last spring. So spend good money smells well. Discretionary point, I will be funding my discretionary Maddie and Alicia's trip to LSTA Saturday. They're going to Great State talk about how awesome we are. That's cool. Also, we finally have our funds that were left over from last year transferred to our account. So that is about $1,840. So we got that back in our account, which is very exciting. The net total is $22,668.78. Allocated for not yet spent is $10,448.13. Not allocated nor spent is $12,220.05. Stack total is $182,946.43. Spot is $115,489.88. And new funds $67,456.55. These numbers are true and accurate. To the best of my knowledge.
Choose that one first. I put up the application for the Leadership Development Committee. I would love to have some people who already have strong great audience to be on the committee with me to review the application for the networking trip, also seeing some speakers, stuff for Senate members, like with application on workspace. Other than that, we are going to OSGA, the Student Government Association event. And it's just Maddie and me, and we're going to be discussing with other Ohio student government leaders about issues that are affecting their campus, issues that affect our campus, like their campuses have done certain things, what we've done, and just kind of a collaboration conversation about that. That'll be fun. And then so the past couple days I've been in communication with the graphic designer about making some apparel options. We're gonna have 3 options coming soon for some merch. I will be putting the 3 options out in a Slack for some votes. So even though we may not have a Senate meeting or a night after next week's meeting, please make sure to vote on that stuff and keep an eye in the Slack for that. Because we want to get the orders rolling like over winter break so that we can have them when you guys come back, especially if you plan to share parents who are like, no, I should buy this shirt in your home. So just keep an eye on that, and then I'm going to
just really quickly, I apologize. I know it's something on the Slack channel about the mishap and some interviews for Thanksgiving break. If you haven't read the message, if you are still interested in doing interviews and you missed out because I messed up last week and the week before that, just please let me know as soon as possible. I'm having some interviews this Friday as well as next week. That's it.
So I think like after if you meet a meeting with commissioners, we can probably next semester. And so we'll have some resolutions to make sure that our
Wow. Oh.
I just want to say that we should drop that from like
Oh.
what an amazing quote. I said, can you send me some pictures of Jason when he
We'll put that up next time he's.
And I may or may not have ignored today based on requests from somebody.
I know, I
I haven't stroked my big stuff. I do have a couple of food pantry updates. As you know, Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, and the university, you might not know this, but the university did a blast on Giving Tuesday for the food pantry. So it got sent out to all the parents, and also alumni and friends of the university. And they raised in the one day, just like the email got sent out, they raised $1,000.
Wow.
Really, really, I know.
That is awesome.
We only opened that account this summer. We had less than $1,000. So what this means, because we did get approval from the foundation account to use their 501c3 status, that means that we can purchase food from the food bank at like 19 cents a pound. So it's wonderful. And we're making our first purchase next week to make sure that people who are not going home for the holidays, we're staying on campus, we're staying in Athens, but the dining halls aren't open, and there's not many places that we have extra food in the food pantry for those folks. So we're really excited about that. So I wanted to share and thank, I think, Amal, Rachel, somebody else on the food pantry committee? Just the two of you in Senate? Okay. So I think those meetings have been going together really well, and we're coming up with like new names possibly for the relocation. And I ended up not talking to people about the computer lab, but because we got some news from OIT. So what we're doing is we're hoping to move the food pantry up to that fifth floor computer lab in Baker, but we're relocating all the computers within Baker Center. So it's not going to be like its own lab, but the computers are going to go down the second floor hallway where everybody like kind of chills. And you know that really weird bookcase that doesn't have anything in it? They're going to put the printer there. And then, you know how there's a random printer by itself down at Bobcat Depot? They're going to put a couple of computers in that lounge around the, where there's like the half wall around the school tables. So they're going to put them there. So that's currently where they're planning on going. And if anybody has any concerns about that, or you have a formal idea, you have a better idea of where to put them in Baker, let me know. But that's kind of what we're looking at. And then the other thing, the meal swipes, I think I shared with you all that we ended up getting over 500 meal swipes for that one week where we asked for donations. And we are almost out. So if you donated, we're down to like 15 swipes left in the bank. So if you donated or you have friends that donated, please let them know that we need all of them. And so none of those go to waste. So we're excited about that too.
And I think just add on to Jenny with the food bank, their food pantry, there is a survey that was released to students, and there's most of the survey, but I'll put in the Slack, you guys can answer that, that would be awesome. Just trying to get more information.
But that's the only thing.
I will say that I did screw up my Facebook and remove all my bad photos. I did a lot. I'm going to say this was warranted by Alicia for you all. It's warranted by my other two sponsors. Let's say that in quotes. But happy week 14. I just wanted to say you all have done a great job this semester. I know it's not the last meeting of the semester, so I'm not going to be a long-winded thank you speech by any means. But I just want to commend you all for the work that you have done and will continue to do. Encourage you all to take care of yourselves, but also your academics, because that is so important. This is also important, yes, but like power through these next years, you all got this. Rely on one another, look out for each other, and if any of us, myself, Jenny, or the execs can help you, please let us know. And other than that, go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. Go Bobcats.
Okay, is there a motion on the floor?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand. All those opposed, abstentions, we are adjourned.
I was gonna end it.
Yes.